Yes, for everyone out there. Once upon a time, you had a ticket book. You had a coupon book, basically, when you wanted to go to the magic. When you wanted to go to Walt Disney World, of course, Magic Kingdom was all there was. So, and you had a couple of options, and you had some choices. So there were books that were, they were called adventure books.
Hmm.
So you
Yeah.
had 7 adventures, 8 adventures, 10 adventures, and it ebbed and flowed and changed, over time, year to year. And prices also did go up every year, even then. But
Right.
we'll get into that in a minute. But the biggest thing about the ticket books was, um, one, it forced you to actually think about what you wanted to do because the
Right.
ticket books did not cover every attraction in the park. So you had to make choices, so you had two e-tickets, which were the top attractions, right? But,
Hmm.
and then you had to make some choices with DC, and quite frankly, you probably remember, Tony, the B's and the A's were like, all right,
Yeah.
sure. It was
Sure. I'll go
the
ride the fire
horse-drawn
truck.
carriage to the hub and the Omni double-decker bus up and
Right.
down Main Street that
Right.
required it, that required a ticket. So, but that was all a part of it. The other interesting thing too, which I haven't decided yet, and maybe by the end of this podcast we'll come up with a conclusion. But there were some things in the parks in those days that did not require a ticket.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you had a few attractions that like everyone could like they kind of wanted you to go see, and you didn't
Hmm.
really have to make a choice on. So, but that didn't last very long, and then everything eventually required a ticket.
Yeah. I think a lot of the
So yeah, go
entertainment
ahead.
did not. Yeah. I think a lot of the entertainment didn't. Like Mickey's
Yes,
Review, I think didn't
the
at first,
Diamond
but then
Horseshoe
did.
Review did not
Right. Did
require a
not.
ticket,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they
Uh,
were also hoping that you would buy some
Food.
food,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it was different. Like I said, today when you purchase that, $219 ticket, you have this sense of entitlement. Like you know, if I'm spending $2,000 for my family to go, I want to see everything in
right,
the park. you
yeah, of
know,
course, of
and
course,
and the ticket book, I think if they brought it back, we'd probably see less wait lines because people would be more selective about what they wanted to do. Now, if you just had a big bundle of money and just didn't care, you would go buy 10 ticket books and just go see everything in the park. But
right,
who's going to
right.
do that? Nobody, right? So
I know my father didn't do that when I was a kid.
mine didn't either. I remember on several occasions I got my book and then used it, and then I had to use my allowance money that I brought to go buy an extra ticket for something. So, you know,
Sure,
uh,
sure.
that means that I was being very selective, and I wanted to go see something again, and I had to spend the money. So,
Right,
you know,
right.
Disney won on that era too. So,
Now they look. It's never exactly been cheap or affordable.
yeah, yeah,
It's always been somewhat pricey. It's
yeah.
it's very pricey now, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, yeah. I was looking back to it. We're talking about Disney World, but Disneyland to get into the park in 1955 was $1. One, one,
Sure.
$1. And I'm thinking to myself,
Right.
I would have just gone in for the dollar and done nothing.
Just hang out and
Yeah, just to
people
hang out.
watch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it was and kind of still is a park. There's trees, there's benches, we don't
Yes.
have those things. They've taken most
Well,
benches away, most trees
that's
are
a good
gone.
yeah, that's a good point because you know what? I do remember. Look, I remember in the early days,
Hmm.
when we were going with the whole family, I had my grandparents, my grandmother, from
Yeah.
Italy actually liked, she actually loved going on It's a Small World, and then she
Hmm.
would sit on the bench while we
Yes.
would go run around. She liked hanging out in the
Hmm.
hub and
Yes.
just kind of seeing all the action and the people. So you're right. There's
Yeah.
something to be said for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That you don't see too much of that right now. You do see, everyone is very, very hyped up and concerned about got to
Yeah.
get this, got to get that, must see, must see, must see.
Right.
And what's lost now, I think, to some extent, is you don't have a lot of people stopping to smell the proverbial roses.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my father didn't ride a lot of rides because he had a bad back, but he'd be like, "All right, I'll just sit here, and when you guys are done, I'll be here." And he would either maybe get something to snack on, or he would just sit there and people watch, and he would try to figure out how Disney did this every day. Had they, you
Yes.
know, the operational aspect of how did they get this thing doing every single day. So that was his entertainment. His Disney
And that
operations. But
that obviously passed on to you because you're you're
yeah.
you're a big you're a big Disney by the numbers guy, Tony.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And listen, you do too. You probably have. I mean, I have a lot of pictures of the Magic Kingdom flanked by the Cinderella Castle, flanked by tons and tons of trees, which are now gone. And I was
Oh
kind of
yeah,
shocked when they did Epcot and they put all benches and trees. I was like, wait a minute. For years, they've been taking all the benches and the trees out, and now in this park, they put them
right.
back. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe somebody felt guilty about taking them all out.
Well, I think with when they built Epcot, you still had so I believe Card Walker was the
Yes. Hmm.
CEO at the time, right?
Right.
And so you still had the remnants of the nine old men
Hmm.
and people like Card Walker and probably a number of other people who had worked with Walt in his
Right.
time. And, so when they got to Epcot, I think that they probably got to say or have a larger say about that exact thing. Let's make
Right.
this, place for everyone. It's not just about the thrill rides or
Yeah.
any ride or an attraction. It's also about enjoying yourself with the whole family, the
Yeah.
way Walt did with his girls
Right.
riding the carousel in the park,
Right. Yeah.
in his
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
don't. That well. I don't think that it's being used for that purpose anymore because a lot of people are just
No,
sitting
not
there
anymore.
on their Facebook charging their phones, but they're not talking to each other. They're just charging their phones anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
I
Let's.
do think though, I mean, some of that, yes, it's the ticket
Mhm.
prices and the money and the need to, I'm spending a lot. I need to get everything in. But I also just think as a society, we don't slow down
Yeah.
and enjoy stuff too much
Right.
anymore. And that particularly, like when I think back to childhood days in the park,
Hmm.
the queues, the lines waiting for an attraction
Hmm.
were also heavily themed
Yes.
and meant to entertain you to a certain extent,
Right.
to pull your mind away from the fact that you were waiting 20 or 30 minutes
Right.
for an attraction.
Right.
And with the advent of, Fast Pass and Lightning Lane and Genie Plus and
Yeah.
Premium, all the other
Right.
variations on that theme, it's taken that away, and people are just zipping through. Just get me on the ride and let
Yeah.
me keep on keeping on.
Yeah, yeah, and back in those days too, I think they played more mind games with us because the person standing at the end of the line with the 60-minute. My father would check his watch. Oh, 60 minutes. All right, let's see, and we'd get through in 30 minutes or 35 minutes, and my dad would be, well, that only really took 30 minutes, so this ain't bad. You
Right.
know, so they were playing mine. Now today, I think they are very more accurate on the time. It may shave 5-10 minutes off, but they're not halving
Yeah.
it to make it.
No, no, it's pretty accurate. But I
Yeah,
also do appreciate that. I mean, going back to what you were talking about with your dad and
yeah,
even to you and I to a certain extent, I
yeah.
appreciate the fact that if they say it's 45 minutes, it's about
It's
45
5 minutes.
minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm okay with that. What I don't like is, I'm not gonna by name call them out, but there are plenty of other parks
Hmm.
where they'll post 45 minutes, it's an
Yeah.
hour 10, and
Right.
you ask a cast member or something, you say, how long? well, not really. Yeah, you're pretty close. It
Yeah,
might be. So
yeah,
that
yeah,
infuriates me more than the
yeah,
fact that I'm waiting the 45
yeah,
posted.
yeah, yeah.
So this is the OG Disney Cat saying thanks for being here. See you real soon. Remember to subscribe and like, hit that notification bell. And for all things on Disney, past, present, and new, check out some of these other videos. See you real soon. Remember, everybody wants to be a cat, 'cause the cat's the only cat who knows where it's at.